Hi everyone, my name is Marie and you're listening to the 10th episode of the PB&J podcast, where I document the life and times of an entry-level product designer in 20-minute episodes every Sunday. I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh my gosh, Marie, it's not Sunday, it's Tuesday, probably because I'm going to post this on Tuesday. Today, I'm recording this on a Monday, but this will probably go up on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. But yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, Marie, it's not Sunday, what's going on? You're slacking off. Well, this was intentional because something important and very relevant and significant to document was happening on Monday, and I did not want to wait till next week Sunday to document because I just couldn't wait. So I'm really happy to announce that we're finally done with our capstone project. And on Monday, earlier today, we had our capstone project presentation, which is similar to your defense. Like if you went to uni in Nigeria, it's like your final year project defense, sort of, yeah. So that's what we did today, and it was so chef's kiss. It was beautiful. It went so well. So for those that don't know or need a little bit more context, I'm currently in product design school at Tech for Dev. There's a fellowship that they organize every year called the Women Techsters Fellowship, where they essentially teach women that apply for the program whichever skill they apply for. So there's product design, there's product management, there's cybersecurity and whatnot. So I'm in the product design learning track of the Tech for Dev Women Techsters Fellowship. And at the end of the fellowship, so it runs for 6 months. Yeah, we're currently, at the end of, or nearing the end of the fellowship, right? So at the end of the fellowship, there's a capstone project, which is where you sort of practicalize all the skills you've learned from your 6 months of learning and apply in a real world scenario. So we got to work with an online nutrition company called Healthy Diet for All, and our deliverable was to create a web app for the company, essentially. So they create groups. So we're group 25. So in each group there are product designers, product managers, cybersecurity analysts, data scientists, then devs. There's supposed to be front end and back end devs. So these roles that I just mentioned are the different learning tracks available at the Women Techsters Fellowship. So there will be at least 2 people from each learning track in a team, so that you have experience working on a real life project in a cross-functional team. Do you get what I mean? So that's the essence of the capstone project. So yeah, I worked on a team of, I believe, 13 women. I served as a product designer alongside 2 other designers. So yeah, that's essentially what the capstone project is. I hope that is enough context. And we've been working on this since, I think, March, early March or so. Yeah, so not a lot of time, honestly. Imagine building a product from scratch in a month or less than even. It was a lot, honestly, and it's our first time, everybody on the team, it's our first time actually working on a cross-functional team to build a product. So it was quite overwhelming. You can imagine how excited and happy you are that we actually were able to achieve this in such a short amount of time. And yeah, I'm really proud of my team members, and I'm especially proud of our lead product manager, Precious Alabi. Honestly, props to that babe. She did the damn thing. She presented for us today, and just overall working with her was such a pleasure. The way she was able to, lead, just her work ethic was so amazing, and it was just a pleasure working with her. She wasn't annoying. You know how, the stereotype that product managers have. She wasn't that at all. She was lovely to work with, and I did not for 1 second feel any type of way about her. It was just pleasant the entire time. It was stressful, right? But She just made it much easier for us to work with. Yeah, so it was really great working with Precious, and I really commend her for managing the entire thing. I'm really looking forward to her growth as a product manager, because I think she's going to go places. And of course, shout out to the designers on the team, Maritha and Miriam. The three of us are M's: Mari, Maritha, and Miriam. And yeah, so with the three designers on our team, it was amazing working with them. We honestly did not fight at all. Like there was zero conflict. There were some issues, I think, with like consistency in the designs and whatnot. Not that it was a super huge issue, but I mean, to be fair, we were short on time. So I'm proud of like what we were able to come up with despite the short amount of time that we had. So yeah, shout out to those ladies, my entire team. Like everybody was just like amazing and great. Especially the devs, honestly, like props to them. They really tried. Although the final product, like the actual, the MVP isn't quite ready. So during the presentation, Precious had to navigate or present the prototype on Figma. And one of the devs took over and showed them what we had so far with the MVP, like the actual website. So yeah, after the presentation, we had a meeting later in the day, in the evening, and we agreed that we would continue working on perfecting the product, because I mean, it's definitely be better. Like there's a lot of improvements, but I mean, just like with the amount of time we were given, it was, I think we did pretty good, especially for first timers. I mean, I think we tried. But yeah, I don't know if I can, but like I will link maybe the presentation slides. If you're interested at looking at that, then I'll probably link it below. But yeah, so that's that, and I'm really proud of everybody, and I'm so glad it all came together, and I'm really looking forward to, I guess, perfecting the product and hopefully building a case study out of this so that I can put it in my portfolio. I am so happy that I can finally say that I'm done with my capstone project. We have our final exams on Friday. After that, that's the end of the fellowship, I believe. So Friday, I have my final exams. Wish me luck. Yeah, so that's that. So on today's The More You Know segment, I want to, I guess, elaborate a little bit more on what I learned from the capstone project. And I think a really good topic, I guess, to talk about is the design thinking process. According to IDF, which is the Interaction Design Foundation, the design thinking process is a non-linear, iterative process that teams use to understand users, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions to prototype and test. So essentially, it's like when you're tackling or when you're building a product or you're trying to solve a problem, it's like a guide sort of how to approach the issue. And it comes in 5 stages, which are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So the empathize phase is where you essentially try to understand the problem, like do your user research, empathize with users, and sort of understand what it gets some insight into the users and what their needs are. Then define stage is where you analyze the information and observation you got from user research and sort of define what the problem is exactly. Like you define your problem statement. Yeah, so that's what the define stage is. Then the ideate stage is where you think outside the box, essentially, and brainstorm ways to actually solve the problem and create or think of innovative solutions to the problem statement that you created or you defined in the define stage. So that's the ideate stage. Then the prototype stage is where you create the solution, right? So you actually essentially create a prototype, right, of the product that is supposed to solve the problem. And so that's the prototype stage. And then test is where you essentially test the product and see if it works. And one thing that I think during my capstone project I sort of forgot is the fact that the design thinking process is non-linear and iterative And I think that's so important to note, because because I was really stressing about, oh my God, we skipped this step. We didn't do this step at the beginning. In my head, it was like, oh, this is supposed to be a step-by-step process. We skipped this step. That means we're doing a bad job. But then it's non-linear, meaning you can honestly jump steps. Like, it just depends on the situation you're in. So I think had I known that while I was working the product, I think I would have been less stressed, because I was honestly so stressed. I was like, bro, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, or we skipped steps and then we would do it later on. And I was just stressing out, like, is this the right way to approach this? But yeah, I think it's really important to just to understand that it's non-linear. Like, it's not step by step per se. It's like you can start off with a prototype and then go back to empathize and sort of do user research with the prototype, through usability testing. And, it's a cycle, I guess you could say. I think another thing that's really helpful to note is the fact that there's no one way to approach solving a problem. It really depends on the designer and honestly just like the circumstance. The beauty, I think, and the challenge of being a product designer is being able to think critically and understand what is the best way to approach this problem. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, I think these are the things that are really important to note when it comes to building a product and approaching it with the design thinking process. So yeah, so that's like a major thing that I think I took away from the capstone project. Don't be too stressed about following the step-by-step design thinking process. Acknowledge that and accept that it's a non-linear process and iterative, meaning you go back and iterate 1 million times before you get what you're looking for, and that's okay. Like, it's fine. Like, you're good. So yeah, I hope this is useful information to somebody. And yeah, so for the month, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the past. So every month I planned on doing a course, right? So I'm supposed to have, by the end of the year, I'm supposed to have 12 certificates, essentially. So for the month of April, I decided to take on a human-computer interaction course, because I started looking into master's programs and I saw, so I have plans by God's grace to do my master's in human-computer interaction, and I sort of wanted an idea of what that entails. I really wanted to get in depth, because the videos I was watching on YouTube were helpful, but I really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty. So I bought a course on Udemy to really get into it and understand what it's all about. And it's interesting, really. Like, it's definitely super useful. I think it's a great skill and like something very valuable to have in your stash, right? Like, a HCI master's degree. But I feel like I'm leaning, after, completing the course, I feel like while it's like great, I'm leaning more towards masters in design. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I haven't heard back from any of the internships I applied for, and I think I know why. So head PSA, honestly, this is like a huge PSA that I think everybody should take note of, because it's really important. I create my resume on Figma. The resume I've been using to apply for these internship roles, it's the resume I created on Figma. And apparently Figma created resumes aren't optimized for ATS, meaning it instantly rejects your application. Your Figma created resume is instantly rejected. So PSA, don't create your resume on Figma. Honestly, your best bet is just to create it on Google Docs or Word or something. And, don't limit your chances of getting employed. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully this was helpful information to you all. And I will see you guys next week, Sunday. Bye.